Shalom, shalom. All esteem belongs to the most majestic one. You who will be esteemed, you who will be esteemed. Back again for another truth telling session. Let's see here. All right. I think we lined up good here. Yes, you who will be esteemed. Some of you in your Shabbat. I know you over there in the different area of the world. We're coming up into our Shabbat. Yahuwah will be esteemed for what he is doing through us. For making a way out of no way, for keeping us in the midst of the storm, for bringing us back again for another study session. I see y'all dropping in comments, showing your participation, coming in from Canada, watching on YouTube, Facebook. I had an Instagram account that had I don't know, a few people that was watching on there, but I exposed the realities about the Revelation 2:9 people over there in Dust Bowl, how they run the most provocative, evil, vile things in the world. That post was shared, I don't know, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and somehow it became a threat to the community standards. So they gave me the boot. So I recreated another account, but because it's such a newer account, doesn't have many people connected to it, they won't allow it to stream there yet. But it's all good. It's all gravy. I appreciate that, Instagram. I appreciate the shadow banning, the blocking, and so forth and so on, because, you know, it's like when Yahusha was kissed on the cheek. You know, he was kissed on the cheek. And unfortunately, even though it was a trial, it was a trying time, he was put in a position to be identified by the wicked. That's how the wicked identifies the chosen people. They put him out there on Front Street. Yep, that's what they do. That's what they've always done. But I'm excited again for the realities in which Yahuwah has brought us to, has awakened us from. We've come out of the lies. We didn't awaken to lies. We awakened to truth. See you coming from Virginia, Woodbridge. Yes, all over the earth. In this remnant study. It's not the mass, it's not the multitude. It's probably never going to be that way, which is a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. If it was something different, then we might want to ask some questions. How all of a sudden we went from being a remnant to this massive gathering of people when the truth says there's only a remnant. There's only a remnant that will make it. Only a remnant that will actually endure to the end, which is the essence of this study. You know, we're going to get into some very heavy realities about warfare that you probably would hear in church as spiritual. You know, but we do what we work to get away from some of these key terms that create the illusion of you know, happiness, success, prophecy, understanding realities. You know, our objective is to get away from all these terms, even though we know the true language will not be restored to his people until he judges the earth, until judgment truly actually runs its course. I know a lot of people out there saying you need Paleo Hebrew to get the deep understanding if you're not speaking in the true tongue, the true language. You know, just a bunch of made up stuff. You know, because it just makes people sound deeper. It makes them sound you know, like they're profound. They had a higher level of insight. But in all reality, we're not going to know what time it is as far as his, we're not going to receive the restored tongue unto his people until he judges the earth. Why would he do that? Why would he wait to that time frame? Well, it's real simple. I speak a language that's not true. Other people speak languages that's not true. And people are learning in the language which they speak. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. The problem comes down to, at the end of the day, at the basis of it all, and which is through it all, is the name in which people pronounce. That's the foundation of it all. You can't alter the name and say, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out later on. If that was the case, then Moshe never would have turned around and asked Yahuwah before he had went into Egypt, Mishraim, to rescue the people. We said, what should I tell them? What should I say when they say, who sent me? Mm-hmm. So we get to the age where, it's so amazing when you really think about it. They did a deliberate work to remove names from the scriptures, right? Deliberate work, and put in these pagan deities. Lord means Baal, right? The actual title Christ is not even the name of the Redeemer, but people say Christ is King. What does that mean? That is a literal title that was given to these Romans, if you will, when the righteous right arm walked the earth. This is that was never his identifier as far as the Torah is concerned, as far as prophecy is concerned. So at the end of the day, the name is what truth stands under, truth stands on, and all around, period. And the process, again, I always like to go back to when the name Yahusha, which is Yahuwah delivers, Yahuwah saves, was revealed to me. I was churching it up as far as like my mentality, my thought process. I will say in JC the whole 9 yards. But before I got to actually grab hold of the awakening truth, the realities of who the chosen are, the times we live in, what does it mean to be in the end times? What does it mean to endure to the end? The apocalyptic or the apocryphal books, Enoch, and all these other realities that existed came after the name was revealed to me. Don't you find it quite interesting that there are so many people today who profess truth, profess, righteousness, the way, in their name, and the name that's being used is what they had supposedly discovered through, research. They went and searched out the name, or whatever name they come up with, and whatever name is logical, makes sense to them. But yada yahu, again, we're in the Great Awakening. Truth is being revealed. The facts are being laid plain. And this study is going to be one of those simplest realities about battling in the unseen realm. There's so much, illusion of deep truth. All this super, super deep spiritual awakening truth, spiritual revelation, and people are missing the very basis. And I'm telling you, you probably will not have heard this type of study before. And the reason being, because again, it's not the people want to hear that, oh, give me that juicy juice, right? Give me that exciting, oh wow, that was so profound, that was so deep. But when Yahuwah takes you through the word, man, the simplest things are deep without the additives, without the fluff, the yeast, the extra stuff. Every time he sends me through the truth, the breath of Yahuwah leads me through the truth, I look at some of the most simplest statements, simplest examples, simplest historic accounts, and I'm like, wow, that was extraordinarily deep. But we don't live in a time where people want the simplicity of the realities that create transformation. What they want is that, 15 messengers on the pulpit type situation, bouncing questions off at the end of the day, not to change, not to elevate, not to seek out what it is, to really walk it out. What they want is someone to affirm the life they've already accepted. That's it. That was the whole essence of church. That's what motivational speakers are for. That is what the essence of, so-called teachers is for, is to affirm what people have already said. This is how I want to live. So can you show me in the word, how do I continue to pursue this without it coming out so bad or looking so bad or whatnot? But I'd say we're going to put, you do need your Shemayim thinking caps on for this study. And, if you're really trying to battle the warfare of the unseen, again, spiritual according to church, then you need this reality with the breath of Yahuwah leading you. So many people are in bondage today, emotionally, mentally, physically, all because of a missed understanding of what it means to battle in the realm that we cannot see with our natural eyes. Yeah, there's a warfare raging right now. Right now, as we speak, the question comes down to is what side do we land on after every battle? Where do our feet stand, if we're even still standing, once the fight is finished? So we're going to answer that question today, utilizing the truth of what's written in the word. And we're going to do so with the will of Yahuwah leading us, his breath leading us. Change is in the air, beloved. And the question comes down to it is, are you ready for that change? Are you ready for that change? So before we get started, I want to make a special announcement. I want to bring out something Yahuwah has led me to do. Something that has been on my heart for a long time. A lot of you've heard me talk about or read about men and how men are becoming extinct, real men, right? How men are becoming exhausted and not knowing how to navigate. I mean, if you go on the World Wide Web, the internet, you will find a host of people who are talking about what happens when a man becomes exhausted. And much of what they say is true. He shuts down, he gives up, he quits, he goes another direction, he mentally checks out. I mean, all these realities do happen when men become exhausted. But as I continue to listen to these supposed truth tellers, certified therapists, so forth and so on, I don't hear the definitive of what a man is supposed to do beyond the exhaustion, when the effects have taken on his life, and you can see it, you notice it, right? It's the biggest thing is, yeah, men get exhausted. People didn't know that, apparently. Right? Now, what do we do? What happens when that time comes? Right? The exhaustion from dealing with being just a father, right? Trying to maintain righteous fatherhood. Exhaustion from doing Yahuwah's work, right? We see it in the word. Elijah got exhausted, thought he was the only one left, took off running, right? What do you do when you get to those places? What is a man supposed to do when he feel like there's no one he can lean his head on? No one can fortify him and hold him up. So Yahuwah be lifted high. I wrote this book called When a Man is Fed Up, Rebuilding the Man You Were Created to Be. 30 Days to True Transformation. This is one of those, something again that's really been, I wanted to address the overall, the totality of the struggle of men, right? What men actually face, what they encounter in the realest situations that I've endured, I've experienced, not just as a man, a father, a husband, a brother, a son, a grandson, but also the men that I have interacted with over the years, the experiences that they have dealt with, whether it was making bad decisions or making great decisions that turned out bad, or just falling into scenarios or situations you had no idea was going to happen, right? All that wears on a man. But the word is very clear, and having the testimonies to support what the word is showing us to navigate these times as a man is so vital right now. It is so vital, right? Uh, Families need to stay together. Men need to become and remain leaders. Righteousness needs to be the forefront in the middle of the storm. So how do you do all that? Well, this book breaks it down. 30 days. It's a workbook after you complete the chapters. It speaks to the heart, from the heart to the heart. Yahuwah led me in this book to present, and you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry. You cannot read this book and not be the same. So it is going to be released on next study. I will share this. Look out for the post of the links and how to get a copy of it. We're going to, again, we got to get the men back to being men and keep those that are being men from throwing in the towel. We are living in that time. They're becoming extinct. Many of us, childhood traumas and things we've endured over the years, don't know how to navigate it, but we're going to break free from all that. We're going to break free from every last bit of that. So my hope is that you read this, get your copy, read it, and when you do, let us know, right? Let me know how it changed you, how it what challenged you the most, and what benefits you, where you still struggling at. So I'm gonna love to hear from those who get their copy and read it. So Yahuwah be esteemed. Be on the lookout for further details regarding the release of this book. It's a book for every man, believe it or not, whether you're a man serving time in prison, whether he is becoming a man, leaving the childhood life to the adolescent life, married, trying to get married, divorced, single father, you name it, we cover every aspect of it. Yahuwah led me to address the whole man in every area, every category. You got 2 baby mamas, we talking about how to navigate them issues, all right? Yes, you will be esteemed. So our study is enduring the end, to the end, battling the unseen. You cannot make it in this walk if you're not battling in the righteousness of Yahuwah. And there is no way to walk in righteousness if you don't understand the unseen warfare that rages all around every last one of us. You can't miss it. I mean, you can't make it if you miss it. It's impossible. It's impossible because before there was the flesh, there was the breath, right? Again, the spirit is what they say in church doctrine. But before man walked the earth, the breath of Yahuwah had already existed. It is the foundation. It is the start. It's the beginning. So we have to have the foundation of the understanding of the warfare which is raging around us, so we can fight accordingly. Okay, there's so many ways people attempt to fight the warfare that exists around us, from these comedic rocks to throwing pepper over their shoulder. I mean, so many different therapists, you name it, a host of things. But you know what I found in my own personal life, and of course, just in interaction with other people, is that many people don't even understand the root of the warfare that they're dealing with, right? It's the theatrics of the world that exists today. We look out and we see Hollywood, we see social media, we see corrupt politicians, we see all these things. And it's so easy to look out and say, man, look at that evil, look at them demons, look at that wickedness. And the truth is, those wicked things, peoples and entities very well exist. A crazy evil boss, absolutely, ran by the unseen wickedness. Uh, a irate, always nagging husband. Yes, that exists. All these exist. But the truth is, none of those external battles, external demonic entities can have its authority and its work in our lives if we understand the root of the warfare we are supposed to battle in this life. We are in the age where blame is always cast somewhere else, but not us, towards us. We don't want to point the finger at us, right? Rather, it's easy to say, well, look at this government, look at these people, look at that person. It's when we actually go this way, right? We take that finger and we go here, that we actually begin to understand the warfare that we cannot see, and not just understand the warfare, but how to fight effectively in that battle. So we're going to talk about this today, so you can come out victorious and stop getting whooped by the devil. Some of y'all ought to be tired of the devil slinging you all around the floor, emotionally, mentally, physically. You should be tired. And if you're tired, yeah, it's time to get free. We're going to do some freedom discussion today. Before we get started, like always, the hell with this age. Happy prep day from where I'm at again. Some of you, again, already entered into your Shabbat. But happy prep day for you folks who are not. And you know, happy belated prep day for those that already went through their prep day. When I say the hell with this age, what I mean is I don't have a desire to fulfill nothing this world has to offer as far as success is concerned, happiness is concerned, joy, and you know, recognition, and whatever else this world tries to present. It's all perishing, every last bit of it. That's why they keep changing the goalpost. That's why they keep altering the expectations, because they know it's ending. And they don't need you to run from it. They need you to remain attached to it, so that when it all comes tumbling down and it's all sent under, or fire sent on it to judge it, you can be judged in the same manner. But we don't do that. We don't want that. The hell with this age, and let's keep it pushing in such. Understanding the warfare in the unseen, right? Understanding the warfare in what you cannot naturally see with your eyes. We live in a time where all these so-called modern labels have existed, that when you look in the word, what you see is spiritual warfare. But now the enemy has labeled these certain experiences, these certain conditions, in order to give you the explanation of how you are supposed to address when you're dealing with stress, when you are dealing with addiction, or when you have self-sabotage. All these ideas, brain fog, they have these perspectives that they have created these fake definitions for, so that, again, when you're being challenged with these experiences, when you're battling these, you reach out to the world, you reach out to man and the remedy which man is offering, in hopes to at least be able to manage the struggle. But know this clearly: Yahuwah never called his people to manage nothing that is not righteous and that is not eternal. He called his people to be more than conquerors through the righteous right arm of Yahuwah, which is Yahusha HaMashiach, Yahusha the Messiah. That's what he has called his people to do. Now, I'm no stranger to these experiences. For the most part, I've experienced these, and I have in the past have certainly went to Google trying to figure out how to address post-traumatic stress, PTSD, right? Panic attacks. I ain't had no bipolar disorder, but I don't know. I could have. I just, that altered ego that I made it have, I didn't know, because they never communicated. Right? Chronic fear, can't sleep, all these things. Yeah, I've dealt with, for the most part, most of these things. And I didn't understand in my time of, again, not being awakened to the truth, living in the ideologies of church, that these were simply conditions. And I never was a fan of medicine like that. And I really wasn't a fan of therapy, to be quite honest with you. Um, but I did look for solutions for things that I felt like I couldn't overcome. And if I went out and called on God and it didn't get healed, I said, well, I guess it's time for me to go check on the specialist, the so-called experts, to get that fixing going on, right? That is the common ideology for most of us as human beings, period. Because we were raised in a system that does not depend on the most majestic one. It was literally built from day one. When you was in your mama's womb, she most likely went to the hospital, and the hospital gave her all the guidance on how she actually needs to do those 9 months and what needs to happen before then and during that time and after then, and follow-ups and checkups and all these ideologies, again, to keep you in a system. So you're never really, despite your petitioning, despite your seeking Yahuwah for deliverance, of course, at that time, he probably was saying God, you're trying to, gain access to better health, to better life. You are at one, you're okay, I'm a petition. I'm going to see what he says. But if it doesn't happen, you got, this in your pocket, plan B, solutions, right? You got answers. You have, hey, this is going to happen and that don't come to pass. Okay, well, then I'm going to do this and do that, right? It's the big deception, Again, right? Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with talking to people. There's nothing wrong with, sharing what you've been enduring, what you've been going through, in order to help get your thoughts out and communicate what's been weighing down on you. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, as a man, we typically have this brute, be quiet. I can muscle it through. I can get it out. I can go through it. I don't need no, you don't want to talk about being weak to people or crying or stuff, You want to talk about being a man and holding on and being strong, and while everybody else is falling apart. A lot of that's good, right? A man shouldn't just be sensitive all the time, weak, crying and all that. Sometimes you got to just man up in the storm. But what happens when, again, we talked about, the book is going to be very profound to this right here, but what happens when you just can't man up, right? You've been dealing with stress, trials, such and such and such and such. Well, having someone to communicate with is not a problem. Sharing your story. So don't misunderstand what is being spoken. There is nothing wrong with counseling. The question is, who is the counselor? That's the question, right? When I was facing 25 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit, I went to a Christian counselor, and I went there to see why am I going through this, right? Give me some deep revelation, some deep something from above, so I can figure out what am I going through, when this is going to be over, so forth and so on. I didn't have discernment to say, well, let me go make sure this counselor is truly walking in the truth, right? I went to a Christian counselor because it was free. You just, if you feel like donating, then you donate. You didn't have to. I think I dropped like $20 in the thing afterwards when I left. But just the idea of going to find a counselor was not a discerning thing in my thought, which is not for a lot of people. And usually when we want to see a counselor or someone that can do therapeutic sessions, is usually after something has blew up, right? It becomes a catastrophic boom. The volcano is boiling over. So now we're trying to find some type of solution, and we end up landing somewhere to speak to someone well after the fact, right? The truth tells us a wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will obtain wise counsel. Proverbs 1:5. It's so important. I should have highlighted that. Wise counsel. Every counsel is not wise. Okay. All counsel is not wise. I don't know why I had a question mark right there. It's typo. But everybody that's supposed to be a therapist or a counselor trying to help you navigate a storm is not wise according to the word. I'm not talking about according to knowledge and education and experience and books and what they wrote about this. I'm talking about the actual wisdom given by which the word defines wisdom. Okay. The world wants you to believe that you have a condition rather than understand that you are in or being defeated by. Right? Looks like some typo there. So basically what I was trying to say is that the world wants you to say you got a condition, right? You have an issue, but they're not telling you that you are literally being defeated, and it's unseen in what you're being defeated by, or you've already been defeated. All right. And this reminded me of an experience that I had when I had just bought this minivan, family minivan for Toyota. I was super excited. It was just enough space for our family at the time. And I was in a police academy, and I woke up one morning and I was super late. And when I say I just bought the car, I think I had it for like a week, maybe 2 weeks at max. So obviously I don't want to be late for this police academy. I just got the job. It took me a while to finally get it. So I rushed to get dressed. I hop in the car and I'm flying down the road. And I mean flying, right? And this is 2-lane street that I'm driving down, trying to make sure I make it. It's an hour and 20-minute trip, right? Trying to make sure I make it on time rather than just saying I'm running late. And so interestingly, as I was driving, I heard very clearly, put your seatbelt on. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to crash. That's my thinking. But I obeyed. I put my seatbelt on. It was probably like 2-3 minutes after I put my seatbelt on that I completely lost control of the car. I ended up going off to the side. They had these like where the street is, they have this like hill of dirt barrier off to the side instead of like the actual, concrete barriers or steel barriers. And that was, to keep me from veering off into if someone loses control, they don't end up way out somewhere crashing into a pole or whatever. But nevertheless, I lost control and I ended up veering off to the side, and the car literally went airborne because I was traveling that fast. Then it comes back down and I try to regain the speed, regain the steering. But next thing you know, I'm on the opposite. I go across the opposite lane and I'm in the same type of side road situation and I go airborne. And this happens for like 3 or 4 times, probably even more than that. And next thing you know, I'm finally on the outside of the divider, the dirt divider, and I'm starting to hit these poles and these pipes and just ping, ping, ping. I'm tearing up stuff, right? Total the car from what the factory people or the appraiser, whatever, came out. Total the car. I didn't even get insurance on the car yet because I was still under the dealer's warranty or insurance because I just had bought the car. They give you so much time to get insurance. So I ended up contacting the dealership and I explained to them what happened. And from what I gathered was that they were trying their best not to activate the insurance policy because I just had bought the car, right? And then they didn't want to take it back. But the guy said, can I come in and talk to him? But because, again, it all happened, me rushing and so forth, my mind is not clear. I didn't want to go in. I didn't know what this individual was going to attempt to do or whatever the case may be, manipulate me into some other kind of agreement, whatever the case may be. So I ended up talking to a gentleman that I considered a friend at the time and still do. And I said, look, man, it's the situation, right? I need to figure out what I'm going to do about this car. I can't drive it. It's total. And the dealership is saying this, saying that. What do you think I should do? I was, kind of in a state of desperation. I needed some counseling, some therapy, I guess. And sure enough, he said, he looks up like he's some deep, profound thinker, right? The guy was a joker. Always telling jokes, right? Never took this guy serious. I don't even know why I asked him anything. To be honest, I was just that desperate. And he says, tell you what, this is what you do. He gives me this little technical spiel and says, don't go nowhere. Just let them try to keep find you. And something he said was really ridiculous. At the end of the day, I didn't go in. Of course, sure enough, that was a stupid decision. That was not wise counsel. And I ended up having to owe on this car. It went into repossession. And, once it goes into there, and then you got all these other fees you have to pay. And I had this fat note that was far beyond what I was going to pay for this car sitting on my credit when I just had rebuilt my credit so that our family can get the car to get into the home that we got into. Not wise counsel. But like I said, it's typically when we're at a state of desperation, something's catastrophic has happened because we're not moving in a consistent way of doing things. We're not addressing certain behaviors. Like I should have been addressing my speeding. I was a super speeder back in the day. My wife would tell you she didn't like riding with me because I floor it. I'm going right. And I'm like, I got tactical skills. I'll be able to make it. Yeah. I should have addressed that. I didn't, and it cost me. And then it, took quite a few years for me to finally get that off my credit report. But I sought counsel that was not wise. And what does the word say? It says a wise man will hear and increase learning. I wasn't hearing the fact that I should have stopped speeding. And a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. Proverbs 1:5. Wise counsel is knowing what to do because you have been there. That's simply what wise counsel is, right? You can't be going to people asking them how to navigate something that they themselves has not accomplished, right? And I'm going to tell you, it sounds like there's nothing wrong with that. But when you do that, you open up yourselves to the wrong information, even if the person seems to know what they're talking about. Or something I've experienced more than once is that I open myself up to the right information, but at the wrong time. So I'm moving before, or I'm moving behind and not with the breath of Yahuwah, because I'm trying to get something accomplished. Doesn't mean Yahuwah don't want it done. It doesn't mean he don't want it done that way. The timing could be off because we're doing it according to how we see things, emotionally, feeling wise being involved. So we're moving, but not according to when, where, how, why, or what he wants us to do. Many people look the part. Believe that. We're built in the Babylonian system. Certificates, degrees, acknowledgments, accolades, rewards, counselors, therapists. And when you're battling with spiritual or unseen warfare, you are not looking for something in the unseen, right? You're not like, well, let me see if I can see in the unseen and see if this is really what I need. No, by the natural makeup of a human being, we're looking into the physical and we're saying, okay, this person looks to be the part. I need a counselor. I need a lawyer. I need a this. I need a that. So let me go over their resume. Let me go over their history. Let me go over their qualifications to see if this person fits the bill. Do they have enough reviews? Do the reviews make sense? Man, this has to be the person to lead me. Look at all their certificates, right? That's the deception, right? The truth says the just will live by belief, not by what we see. And until we grasp that reality, we're going to constantly have this, man, I shouldn't have did that. Oh, that's not the right way. Okay. So let's get a little more deeper in this ideology about unseen warfare, what many of us don't grasp. Wisdom is produced when knowledge is applied rightly when tested under trial. We talk about this a lot because so many people present themselves as wise to us, you and I, right? Yet they are doing so because they possess much knowledge. They have a lot of information, but information don't make you wise. If that was the case, then it's okay to be a smoking doctor. Tons of information. How many hours, days, and months and years they spend in school learning that shouldn't put stuff like that in their body, but they do it anyways, right? Right? Wisdom is you having the information, apply it correctly when you're tested, and after that test, you come out wiser. Something so profound I wanted to, Yahuwah led me to share with you guys as we doing this study about unseen warfare is Kepha told Cornelius, In Acts chapter 10, verse 38, he says, how Yahuwah anointed Yahusha of Nazareth with the consecrated breath and power, who went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed by the devil, for Yahuwah was with him. This is probably, this is not, it's not probably, this is the key, the essence of what it means to actually deal with unseen warfare, to battle in unseen warfare. Right here, healing all who were oppressed by the devil. We know the truth tells us that Yahushua had walked around and set the captives free, right? People who were in bondage to variations of things. A woman who had an issue of blood, people couldn't see. A girl was asleep. They thought she was dead. Constantly going around setting people free, showing the greatest side of what happened with other messengers in the so-called Old Testament. But the question is, how do people become oppressed by the devil? It's a question you don't hear in therapy. I know I didn't hear it. Maybe you did. I didn't hear it. King David said, there is no soundness in my flesh because of your anger. Why? Nor any health in my bones because of my sins. Okay, Psalms 38:3. When the people were oppressed by the devil, it wasn't because the devil just so happened to get a hold of them. Okay, he just so happened to just roll up and just destroy their health, roll up and take everything they got. It didn't work like that, and it don't work like that to this very day. When you read the word, you see that the consistency of the oppression the devil was allowed to put on the people was because the people were doing the things that brought on the oppression. We're talking about the essence of fighting in the unseen realm. Okay. The devil cannot oppress you until he takes you captive. Yes. And know this to be true. He's not simply rushing up in, snatching people up. Many people come to Hashatan like this. They come to him with their wrist out, ready for him to put the cuffs on their wrists and take them captive. And it is after he takes the people captive that he now can oppress the individual. He can't oppress you if you are not his captive. The house of Yasharal and the sons of Jacob, the children of Jacob, could not have been oppressed by Babylon, Assyria, and today America and the West, and so forth and so on, Islam and so forth and so on, had the people not been taken captive. And we know the word shows us clearly that they cannot have went into captivity unless they would not have been taken captive had they continued to walk righteously. We are bound by the enemy. We are held down by the enemy because he has already taken us captive. He oppressed us because we have become his slave. Yes. Oh, yes, this is true battling in the unseen. King David went on to say, for my life is spent with grief and my years with sighing. My strength fails because my iniquity and my bones waste away. Psalms 31:10. Yes. What you don't see in the unseen realm, the spiritual realm, is the essence of what shows up in the physical. The sickness, the depression, the anxiety, the ongoing PTSD, so forth and so on, already happening in the spiritual realm, in the unseen realm. That is what happens in the unseen comes into fruition in the flesh. We know that from the beginning. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness. So he spoke to man, or he breathed his breath into man. He breathed the wind into man, and man became a living thing. Yahuwah said, one thing, then he breathed that into man, and then man became living. What happens in the unseen realm always shows up in the realm we can see with our natural eyes. Yeah, we talking about winning. Y'all should be tired. You should be tired of being depressed. You should be tired of saying, well, these thoughts are telling me to do this. You should be tired. You should be fed up with anxiety, can't sleep at night. I'm going to tell you how to win according to the word of which it says. Obedience, the lack thereof, actually, is why so many of us deal with the aftermath of a warfare that came to the wrong side of the end in our life. With the aftermath of a unseen battle we lost, it shows up in the physical realm. Of course, everybody homeless ain't living off the wall wicked, right? I've lost my house with my family and we suffered. We weren't living, I had already renounced sports and stopped eating pork all years down the line. And we still lost everything. So everybody don't fall into that category. But there are many who do. And this is just one avenue of a warfare in this unseen realm that was lost. And now it shows up in the physical realm. But again, we are led by the Babylonian ideology, the Egyptian ideology, in which we're all part of, whether you Hebrew or Gentile, you all are dealing with the curses, not so much for some than others, or whatever the case may be. But we're taught to go seek the therapist, the counselor, the educated person, the person that has the skills, the knowledge, and so forth and so on. But then that's, how many hours is that? And how long is that? And why is it taking so long to be set free? When you look at the truth in the word, it didn't take 10 years for somebody to get set free. The truth says that the woman was dealing with the issue of blood for 12 years. It didn't say it took 12 years for her to get free because she was had already met the righteous right arm, but it was a 10-year healing process. This prolonged healing process for many of us should have been healed. It should have been done. But think about it when you go back to, you got a deep emotional wound that someone did to you in your childhood, your marriage, or your parent or whatnot, right? Somebody on the job, deep struck wound inside of you. But you got 24 sessions with the counselor. What happens in them 24 sessions? Those wounds are constantly scraped over and over again. What do you do to a wound that is constantly scratched, constantly bothered, that's constantly irritated? It doesn't heal. It doesn't heal. When the man was laying by the pool of Shalum, Yahusha came to him and said, do you want to be healed? The man had already been defeated in the unseen realm. He was just living the aftermath in the physical realm by the pool of Shalom. So he said, look here, do you want to be free? He didn't give him no therapy. He said, I'm telling you how to win this fight in the unseen realm, how to get back into the fight in the unseen realm, and how to win it and live it in the physical realm. But do you want it? Or do you want to do 15 more sessions? You don't see counseling sessions nowhere in the word. Even the woman that was by the well, right, had 10 husbands, and the one had 9 husbands or something to the effect, and the one she was with wasn't hers. He didn't give her no therapy. He simply called out the error and told her that she needed to drink. How long does it take you to drink from a well? Huh? 5 years? You're thirsty. How long does it take you to fulfill the thirst? But we live in a society, we live under ideologies that you need all this time to heal. If I cut you today, it's going to take a little bit for that scab to start forming. But in the process of that cut, where that scab is, do you stop living? Do you stop breathing? Do you stop thinking? Do you stop moving? Or do you continue to do all that and some, but take that focus and put it on that wound? Yeah, we're talking about winning this war. We did a study on this, Binding the Strong Man, a message to the men. It's been some of these big messages who has been leading me to speak again on men in general, right? Men as a whole, for the most majestic one's purpose for their life. So when you get a chance, look at this study. But the truth is, binding the strong man only takes place when a man has put himself in a position to be bound. Why do you think the word says, can you bind the strong man? He said, can you bind no limp wrists, jellyback, weak, hip switching man? He said a strong man, not simply physically strong, but mentally strong, emotionally strong. You can't just bind. I was in law enforcement. Let me tell you something. If somebody don't want to be arrested and handcuffed, you ain't about to be just slapping some cuffs on somebody. And I worked out like a brute. I still be getting it in this late stage, later stage, put that way, right? And I did my workout so I can, when it's time to put them cuffs on, I got the upper hand. But I'm telling you, the people didn't want to go when that strength kicked into their conundrum, into their mind. Shit. The fight's on. The fight's on. But the problem is many people stop fighting. They stop fighting because they got a they got a subscription. They got a therapist. They got somebody coming on to speak to them every day at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time on YouTube. Stop fighting. Let somebody else fight for you. You bound yourself up. The enemy just came in and put the ropes on you. You want to be free in this unseen warfare? Time to do it. Time to get free. But by the time the devil has oppressed you, you have already lost the battle in the unseen. Your anxiety, your depression, your lack of sleep, all these things that we have endured. I've endured them all, most of all of them, right? I understand what you're dealing with. I understand, believe me. But by the time you have reached that state, you've lost the war. You've lost the battle. You're defeated. Again, the flesh is the manifestation of what happens in the unseen. Again, church. I'm always going to get on this church nonsense because it was part of the curses. All these so-called prayer mothers. I grew up most of my life as a kid in Kojic. So I know about these heavy, deep, wailing, screaming, yelling prayer mothers. Trying to get the captives set free, the bounds to be loose, and all these, speaking hibbity, it's supposed to be talking about they talking in tongues. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. But this is, again, the curses. So this is supposed to be how the people get set free. How you keep little Johnny out of prison. How that person get past that bad diagnosis. How they get their lights cut back on. How they make that job opportunity. How they return from deployment and whatnot. Okay? This is the church ideology. And the same people they call the prayer mothers that they put out a prayer request to and do all this praying for the people, they're over there eating pork. Come on. Right? Now, yeah, you was under curses. You didn't know no better. What happens when they tell you the truth? Oh, all meats is clean. We did a study on that reality too, right? All meats is all these. Again, we live. This is the age where people read the word, and they literally show up to these theatrical church services so they can affirm what they don't want to change. They can affirm the life they've already accepted. And then after all that chomping down on that garbage, you're trying to figure out why you all jacked up. But hold on, weren't you the prayer mother? Weren't you holding the line? Petition to keep people out of bondage, set them free from the enemy? Yeah. The word says, whoever turns their ear from hearing the Torah, even their petition is abomination. Many people don't come to the realization. They don't want to come to the realization that all your evil living, your wickedness, your completely rejection of the law, yet you still spoke healing and someone was healed. You still received the healing yourself. You know what that came down. They don't want to accept the reality is that Yahuwah is merciful even in the midst of your evils. Yes, he preserved the people right now who is not walking right. As I said before, I love to say how the book of Kanaka Enoch talks about how the righteous and elect will sin no more. He kept his people along the way. But at some point, you have to come to the realization that Yahuwah ain't playing with this whole I'm going to say and do what I want and still think you're going to get into his promises and stand in his presence. Got to come out that nonsense so we can start winning these battles in the unseen and live out the victory in this time in which we're living right now. And cut that nonsense about, I'm going to wait till I get to heaven to experience minds. How do we win the battle in the unseen every time? How do you stop getting the devil to, how do you stop letting the devil slap you upside your head, knock you on the ground, and you defeated for the next 6 weeks? Right? You out of the fight. You are. How do we stop that? How do we finally get past this roller coaster in and out of victory? Can't seem to sustain the Shalum of Abba Yahuwah. How do we get past all that? The truth says, and we urge you, brethren, to recognize those who labor among you and are over you in Yahuwah and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake. Be at Shalom among yourselves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn those who are unruly, comfort the faint-hearted, uphold the weak, be patient with all. See that no one renders evil for evil to anyone, but always pursue what is good, both for yourselves and for all. Rejoice always, petition without ceasing, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of Yahuwah in Mashiach, which is Messiah Yahusha, for you. Okay? And then he goes on to give you the true key to how to win this warfare every single time. I love how the breath of Abba Yahuwah confirmed this reality. Someone comment in the chat and said, you need the Ruach. Yeah. And we're going to find out how you do that right here. The scriptures go on to say, do not quench the breath. Some of y'all quenching the breath and wonder why you keep getting whooped by the enemy. We're going to talk about what it means to quench the consecrated breath, or the Ruach HaKadosh of Abba Yahuwah. Do not despise prophecy. Do not despise the foretellings of Yahuwah. One of the worst things you can do. Test all things, hold fast to what is good. Yeah, many people don't test squat. Just be real. I hope you're not one of them. Abstain from every form of evil. Yeah, we're going to get into the context of what these four represent, spoken of in Yahuwah or John chapter 19, 14 through 15. Number one, do not quench the consecrated breath. What does that mean? But they rebelled and grieved his consecrated breath. Therefore, he turned himself against them and as an enemy, and he fought against them. Yashiyahu, Isaiah 53 or 63:10. This right here is the essence of what it means to quench the breath of Abba Yahuwah. It is the ongoing, consistent, and refusing to turn from rebellion. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what I think about it. I'm going to do what I feel about it. I'm going to do what seems to make sense to me. They did that over and over and over again. The house of Yashua, the 12 tribes of Yaakov. And Yahuwah said, you know what? I'm done with this nonsense. Now I'm going to be your enemy. His breath was quenched. The purpose of his breath is to help you do what is right. Help you to see what is right. Help you to get back up when you are wrong. Why do you cry about your affliction? Sorrow is incurable because of the multitude of your iniquities, because your sins have increased. I have done these things to you. Jeremiah 30:15. Look at the proclamation given here. He said, because your sins have increased, meaning you didn't stop. You just kept on going. You should have stopped yapping, talking that junk, bumping your gums. You should have stopped hanging out with them people. You should have stopped practicing holidays and so forth and so on, because he came to you with the truth. However, it was received, it was delivered, you received it, but you didn't listen. So then you now have received affliction. And he says it's incurable. Why? Why is it incurable? Why are there inflictions? Why were there afflictions incurable? Thus says Yahuwah, stand in the ways and see and ask for the old paths where the good way is and walk in it. Then you will find rest for your inner being. But they said, this is what you don't hear a lot of people say when they quote this verse, but they said, we will not walk in it. Jeremiah 6:16. The truth is going forth, has been going forth to those whom Yahuwah wants it to be received. More than just simply repent, right? The ancient paths, the ways he has caused his people to walk in from the beginning. But the people said, we're not doing that. We're not going to put down these lifestyles. We're not going to put down these expectations. We're not going to walk about the doctrines and the desires of Babylon. Thus, your affliction becomes incurable. If he doesn't have any pleasure in the death of the wicked, then why are so many people who claim to belong to him are just up and dying just like that? Incurable. Because he said, walk this way. And they said, we're not doing that. He said, well, okay, you can have them, devil. This is the ancient reality that exists all throughout the times of the people to this very day. Yeah, pork sausage, you name it. Celebrating the wickedness, participating and walking according to the pagan Gentile nation things and ways. Yeah. All this has been a consistent, ongoing reality, refusing to turn from the sins in which he said. And thus, they become attacked by demonic entities and lose the battle in the unseen. Yes, they lose the warfare in the unseen. When you end up making a decision that you should not make, you lost the battle. It becomes the manifestation of the battle that was lost in the realm you cannot see. I had to plug my phone up here. Give me a second. Yes. The battle you cannot see. The temptation. The evil thought. The wrong perspective. The false belief. You lost that fight. Come over here and eat this. Come join these people. Come do these things. You know it's not right, but you do it. Because when that time came to make the decision inside of you, which is unseen, and choose righteously, you chose wrong. Thus, you deal with the aftermath in the physical realm. You cannot see it, but that's why you're tormented. That's why you deal with affliction. That's why you're not battling and becoming out victorious in the physical realm. This is what the people have endured and still endure to this very day. When you drive down these cities in these states, Los Angeles, Seattle, and different places over in South Africa, you see people have supposedly lost their mind, strung out on this, can't function, can't talk right, can't seem to get right. That is the manifestation of the warfare that cannot be seen naturally come into fruition in the physical realm. It's again an ongoing reality. The word says, but when the helper comes, whom I will send to you from Abba Yahuwah, the breath of truth, who proceeds from Abba Yahuwah, he will testify of me. Yochanan, John 15:6. If you quench his breath, you have no testimony. He cannot testify of him to you if you quench his breath. And you quench his breath by constantly being disobedient. I've talked to so many people who've told me they feel like they've been cut off from him, but they won't say what they did to get cut off or why they feel that way. Yeah, they won't admit that. So while I don't know for certain if they were officially eternally cut off from him, the truth is they're not getting free. They're staying defeated because they won't admit, they won't express, they won't bring to light what they continue to hide in darkness. So when it comes to the testimony of who is him, redemption, deliverance, healing, shalom, a sound mind, fearlessness, that's his testimony. You have no testimony because you remain in bondage, because you don't want to step out of the darkness. Understand the helper does not help anyone who does not help themselves. All that nonsense they showed up in church, people screaming, falling on the floor, crying, screaming, oh, help me, oh, clean me up, oh, save me, oh, do this, oh, do that. But you're not helping yourself. You want to get help, but you want the help to be fully on the person helping you, but you don't want to do your part. Choose this day whom you're going to serve. That's what it says. But people want the person that they're supposed to serve to come in and help them in the time of affliction rather than help themselves. All right? Number 2, do not despise prophecy. One of the most foolish, stupid things people do today. And I mean stupid. Especially with all the evidence that has saturated the earth. You cannot tell somebody with at least one eye that can see, one ear that can hear, that we're not living in the end times. But people say, oh, no, it's not it. Satan little season. Oh, it's going to get better. Look, America on to come up. Got the tariffs going on, such and such. Yeah. Despise prophecy. Despise the truth from those whom it was committed. And Yahuwah Almighty, one of their fathers, sent warnings to them by his messengers, raising up early, sending them, because he had compassion on his people and his dwelling place. But they mocked the messengers of Yahuwah, despised his words, and scoffed at his messengers until the wrath of Yahuwah rose up against them, till there was no remedy. 2 Chronicles chapter 36, 15 through 16. Yeah, this kind of goes back to what I just said about people reaching out to me, saying how they feel like they've been cut off from Yahuwah. He's going to raise up against a people who refuse to do right, to where there is no remedy. And we know that very clearly throughout his story. The evidence of which we see now in this very day of the people, the so-called black people, all the hell the black people have been through, and they still want to go to the club. They still want to be hateful. They still want to put rims on their rides when they living in a Section 8 apartment. I mean, come on, right? You see it happening everywhere. And then all of a sudden, boom, this person dead. Boom, that person gone. Boom, this happened, that happened. Of course, you're going to get the media's version of it. Black man killed by a white person. Okay, what does this black man do? What has he been doing for the last 10 years? What lifestyle has he been living? How come you never hear the so-called black people dying that were truly walking in Torah? I'm not saying they don't die, but I'm saying how come that's not the news? Yes. I'm not talking about, they were successful trying to become an educated student at some university. I'm talking about truth-telling, truth-walking individuals, pleasing the most majestic one. It says, till there was no remedy. Same ancient, old standing ideology of the people. You send a messenger, he sends them. Look, get right. Stop doing this. Stop listening to that. Stop going here. Stop participating in that. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you just jealous. Oh, you just this, such and such and such. They mocked them. Same today. No difference. True messengers rise up. True messengers Yahuwah send out, and the people like, man, stop it. What you talking about? We don't want to hear that nonsense. Yeah, ain't no different. You know, whether it's in person, on the corners, like I'm not talking about just anybody standing. I'm talking about true truth tellers appointed by Yahuwah. People get mad, they mock, and they leave. They take off. I deal with it a lot. I deal with a lot of people beat feet, blowing up the reality written right there in the word. You know, the wicked flee when no one pursues. I didn't come after you. I'm on the internet. Where you running to? But the righteous are bold as a lion. He who receives you receives me. Listen to this word. And he who receives me receives him who sent me. Okay. He said, he who receives the messenger of Abba Yahuwah receives the righteous right arm, deliverance. They receive deliverance. That's what he was designed to do, set the people free. And when they receive deliverance, they receive him who sent deliverance. What does he also provides? Everything else, right? Shalum, stability in mind, joy in the middle of the storm. They receive that. Yes. However, he says, he who receives a messenger in his own name will receive a messenger's reward. You better take that to heart. Ooh, you better take it to heart. If you won't take nothing I said today to heart, you better take this to heart. Matthew 10, 40 to 42. A reason why I say this is because I had a vision some time ago. I was speaking to people who I knew was very close relationships with, but ran away from me when I woke up to Yahuwah. But in that vision, I went to tell these people, I said, listen, every one of your messengers are going to be the people who are going to turn around and tell you to take the mark of the beast. Yes, that is exactly how the mess of the dream. And I told these people, and let me tell you, the facial expressions and the rejection that came from them in the dream was appalling to me. It was very real, very vivid experience in that dream. And I was trying to say, listen, stop listening to these people, because they're going to be your middleman, your mediator, your advocate for the mark of the beast. And sure enough, here the word says, whoever receives a messenger in their name, in the name of the messenger, right? The reward the messenger is going to get coming in their own name, you will receive that reward too. This is why so many receive fear, confusion, Brock shouldn't be there, but uncertainty, anxiety, so forth. Okay. This is why they receive a host of these defeated experiences and cannot seem to be set free, because they have received the reward of the messenger who came in their own name. Yes, many of them. And I'm going to keep on talking about them. IUIC, Ron Charles, Truth Unedited, John Truth, John False Truth. All these messengers out here. People can't equate why they are depressed, why they have anxiety. I've talked to a few people, email me and sent me private messages and said, well, I was listening to your Truth Unedited, and I had so much fear and I had so much anxiety from the person that he was listening to. I don't know who this person is. I've never met him in my life. These people who send me these messages. And they said, but when they stopped listening to them, their depression went away. Their anxiety went away. You're going to get the reward of the messenger that you choose to continue to receive. Period. The word is true, and it has manifested itself in real time as we speak. This is why you probably dealing with it right now. Why you confused? I don't know how many people tell me, yeah, I know Ron Charles or John Truth ain't called. And then they ask me questions about what they said. Can you clarify this, brother? I'm confused. Oh, yeah, because you just received the reward of someone who has their reward, confusion. One of the biggest ones right now is John Truth. He told everybody, you better stop saying God and then come back on the back end. It's okay to say that name. We're all still trying to grow. I would be confused if I didn't know no better. But I don't receive that messenger. So I don't live in that confusion. Do you? For many will come in my name saying, I am the Mashiach, Messiah, and will deceive many. Listen, if someone comes to say they are the Messiah and they're not him, guess what they are? Deceive. So guess what they're going to do? Deceive people. Whoever receives a messenger in their own name shall receive the messenger's reward. Do you not see what he is saying here? Matthew 24:5. Mashiach, Messiah, is the answer, solution, remedy, resolution, fix, cure, way, key, response, deliverance. These are all the synonyms, the understanding, the portrayal, the depiction, the definition, the essence of what Yahusha came to do. The righteous right arm of Abba Yahuwah was extended into the earth. This is the reason, to fix the problem, to cure the problem. But if one doesn't come in his name, yeah, what are you going to get? What are you going to get? Are you trying to win this unseen warfare, or you just happily defeated? Every messenger not sent by Yahuwah comes in their own name, regardless if they speak his name, period. You cannot find a prophecy. You cannot find an example in the word. You cannot find a verse to support anything contrary. If Yahuwah did not send the person, they are coming in their own name. We just read the verse here. For many will come in his name. He didn't deceive nobody. He didn't come to deceive nobody. So they came in his name. They are in his name right now as we speak, deceiving individuals. Because they came in his name, but they were never sent by him. I hope you take heed to that reality. If you only knew how many people told me they were terrified, confused, etc., because they listened to who. I get this, one of the most messages I get from people. Confused is at the top of the list. Terrified somewhere near after that. And so forth and so on. Because their ears have received a messenger who has came in their own name. By this point, you should understand, if Yahuwah has led you to listen and read what he has allowed me to share for some time now, you should come to the realization of why he told me to why he tells me to keep telling you to test the messenger, test the testimony, for the sake of what the reward you're going to receive. You cannot do battle in the unseen realm if you are listening to people to whom he hasn't sent. Again, the information may be true. It may be right. But is the timing correct? Is it for you to receive now? If it is, then why are you confused? If it is, then why are you scared? Why you got anxiety after listening to such and such? Yes, Yahuwah is not the author of confusion. Number 3, test all things. Hold fast to what is good. The word is not saying search for or listen to everything you can to test it. One of the biggest silly deceptions in the world right now. People are subscribed to and show up to a host of different places to try to test and listen to everything. How in the world, in your infinite time, or not your finite time, and your fallible flesh, and your capped mentality, are you going to simply find and test as much as possible? No way. Yahuwah has established his people to walk according to such. If there rise among you, not when, not go find them, not search myself. If there rise among you a messenger or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder comes to pass, of which he spoke to you, saying, let us go after other mighty ones, which you have not known, and let us serve them. You will not listen to the words of that messenger or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahuwah, your mighty one, is testing you to know whether you will love Yahuwah, your mighty one, with all your heart and all your soul, inner being. Yashahu, Isaiah 10:15 or 10:5-6. If I tell you, I don't usually say this, drop it in the comment section, but I'm going to say it this time. If I tell you from this point forward, it's okay to say God, you tell me yes or no. Did I just tell you it's okay to go after and serve other mighty ones? Go ahead and drop that in the comments for your own discernment, not mine. If I say it's okay to say God, I received the name. The name's been delivered to me. Yahuwah has given me the revelation, and I even asked for it. But I flip the script and say, listen, y'all, we trying to be unified. We don't want to reject people. We all had to grow and learn. So stop condemning people and saying God. If they say that, that's okay. If they continue to say it when you told them the truth, it's all right. Did I just not tell you to go after and serve mighty ones? Yeah. He's telling you, if there rises among you, how many people are rising up today claiming they didn't have a dream or claiming they got a message? Ain't nothing changed, beloved. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Don't let the internet fool you. This is just the climax of it all. This is the days of Noah on steroids. That's all it is, right? Just wearing a different mask, but it's the same issue. Yeah. When the word goes forth, you need to test it. Period. Meaning you have been presented with a message. You're walking down the street, right? Someone says, hey, listen to this. Sometimes the breath of Yahuwah will say, keep walking, don't listen to nothing. Other times you will not hear nothing. Why? What does Yahuwah says? I am testing you. I'm going to test you. I'm not going to simply just let you walk away from this one. I'm going to test you. I'm going to see if you really love me or not. So you don't hear the breath of Yahuwah say flee. So you turn and you listen. And they provide you with the word. Now you have to do something. Test all things and hold fast to what is good. So get yourself where you need to be so you can test. You can discern. If you still don't understand, what do? You ask Abba Yahuwah. You petition. You fast for clarity, for revelation, even if you need to, confirmation of what has been spoken, so you don't walk around with, again, ear-itching doctrine, assuming it's the truth. And now when it's time to fight in the unseen realm, you done got whooped on, laid out on the concrete, and now the manifestation of such is showing up in your own personal life. And everyone can see that the devil beat you when you didn't have to lose. Have you ever left church? Have you left church and are still churching it? Yes, you who claim to know Yahuwah, you speak his name, you say Yah, you practice the appointed times, you do Shabbat. How are you still churching it? The church, you were not taught to test squat. Period. Whether it was during the Sun Worship Day service, so-called revival, Bible study, there was never a true testing mandate to test the word. It was to affirm whatever the preacher said is right. You gonna listen to this word. He gonna make a way. Get you all emotionally riled up. Got the music playing, they beating on the drums, and you're feeling so good. Yeah, I heard it all the time, so I can repeat it like that. I grew up listening to that nonsense, and all of a sudden the person sleep in church, they wake up, and they want to stand up and all that nonsense. And what they do after service, I mean, what they do during the service, they ain't doing nothing but affirming it. Repeat after me, say it loud, stand on your feet, turn around, come on to the altar, go on back, dance, sit down, get up, stretch, scratch your neck, right? You done basically been coached through the whole thing. Never do they tell you to test the word. Why? Because then you be like, okay, that dude just lied to me. Now you got a decision to make. Do you sit there and let them keep lying to you? Or do you take accountability for the warfare you fight, for your inner being? And after you have sit there and simply stood there, sit there, shout, scream, holler, cry, laugh, whatever, sing, when you done affirming what was spoke to you, not testing it, where you at? Back at them doggone pork chops. Hearing the other side of truth, of supposed truth, right? Maury Povich, whatever they got on truth tellers on the internet, right? While you enjoying, you listening, and eyes and your ears is consuming trash, and so is your mouth. And then you can't figure out why you can't win these unseen warfares, these unseen battles. The devil oppresses all who reject what is foretold. Period. If he said it, you reject it, you're going to get oppressed. Ain't no way to get around it. Ain't no way to flee from it. Ain't no way to escape it. Ain't no therapist, no pills, no counseling session, no escape to your walk in the backyard, or none of that's going to get away. You're going to escape if you reject what was foretold from him. To the Torah and the testimony, if they do not speak according to this word, it is because they have no light in them. Yashayahu Isaiah 8:20. Yeah, if they speak according to their own version of the word, if they lack the test, what is the testimony? This is Yashayahu. This is before Yahusha said, be mindful, take heed on the Mount of Olives in Matthew 24. He said, if they don't have the testimony, what's the testimony? Yahuwah called them. What's the proof? Where's the evidence? And how do you know that they were called? Let's go through the history of their life. Yeah, let's do that. Since you're going to listen to them, let's get into the nitty gritty. What have you really overcome? What have you really endured? Most don't testify and call themselves messengers because they still in bondage. Oh yeah, they laid out on the grinder. The enemy's still stepping on them, despite them saying Yahuwah, Yahusha, deliverance, and so forth and so on, despite their tunic tassels and fringes. Well, you say, I know those that speak of Torah. Yeah, I do too. However, do they honor the way, will, and word of Yahuwah? Honor the order of his house. He has a house and he functions in order. Despite what people want to say, despite what they believe what gets twisted because of grafting in or all this spiritual tribe member nonsense, he has order in his house. He changes not, and it will be from then, now, into forever. It ain't nothing gonna change. Do they have a true testimony of Yahuwah sending them? Do they possess a true testimony? Again, are you trying to win the war, or you just, you okay with getting knocked out a few times, get back up, get knocked out? We're not called to be defeated in this fight, period. Emotionally, mentally, physically, we are not called to be defeated. The word says clearly, demonstrated repeatedly, we are more than conquerors. More than conquerors. You know what more than conqueror truly means? That means if you were walking with Yahuwah through his righteous right arm, Abba Yahusha, led by his consecrated breath, as a person who is more than a conqueror, it means you are victorious before you even begin to fight. Before you even enter the ring with the enemy, you've already won the victory. So why are we more than conquerors and still getting laid out, still getting knocked out by the enemy, spending 6, 7, 8 years depressed? That don't make no kind of wisdom. Do they appoint themselves? Yes. Well, it don't matter if I'm called. Yeah, why? Because it matters to the one who calls people. Do they please the ears of the people? That's okay, y'all. Don't listen. Let's all love each other and cut all this name stuff out. Don't do that. Show love, because Yahuwah's not going to judge you on the name. He's going to judge you on how you love the person. Never mind, the first command says you should love Abba Yahuwah with all your inside and outside parts. Yes. He who receives a messenger in the name of the messenger will receive a messenger's reward. Yes. Yahuwah, Matthew 10, 40, 42. Just thought I'd share that one more time. Number 4, abstain from every form of evil. Some people got the extremity of this. They got the far side of the stream, especially in these end times, because there's so much evil. Your eyes will boop. You're like, oh my goodness. Next thing you know, you doing this, right? The word is not saying take off running every time you see someone or something evil. Yes, that's not what the word is saying. Imagine if Yahusha sustained from all forms of evil, according to this context, right? Every time the Pharisees showed up, he gone. The Torah was like, where you go? What are you doing? It's not a teaching moment, right? Right? You just take off running. Imagine if he did that. Imagine if the messengers, every time they heard something wicked. Oh, let's go. Get out. Move. This is the concept so many people have today. Led by deception, fear, and so forth and so on, but ultimately deception, right? You see the evils in the world, you see the wickedness in the world, and all of a sudden, oh, I got to get out of here. I can't. I got to go. I got to get away from here. Woo, yeah. Out of the door. And now I'm hiding. Oh, Yahuwah, when is end time gonna be? Oh, Yahuwah, when you gonna do this Exodus? I got to get away from these people. They crazy. It's too much this, the job, the people, the such and such, the such and such. Okay. This is the mentality that people are developing today. Why? Because they're losing the unseen battle happening in their life at the end of the day. I do not petition that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. Yochanan, John 17, 15. Of course, this has been manipulated, twisted, and changed, flipped upside down, so forth and so on for many times. But the truth is, he was never talking about simply you not going through hard times, you not going through persecution, and not even dealing with the potential losing your life for the truth in the name of the most majestic one. He's not talking about what does the evil one do? He comes to, before all things, to deceive people. His signature move. His signature move is in the Garden of Eden. He came to deceive mankind. Okay, he's saying, keep my people, my chosen ones, those who belong to you, from being hoodwinked by the lawless one, the son of perdition, the man of sin. Okay, he's saying you need discernment. Okay, abstaining from evil mandates discernment. You need to have a something that clicks in your brain and says, hold on, let me test this here. Hold on, something don't seem right about this. Let me look into it. Yes. So that way, when someone offers you those things which are contrary to the way of the people who want to see the promises eternally, when that stuff comes your way, you have discernment, and not just discernment, but you can abstain from the very appearance of evil. This is why King Shalum said, do not be wise in your own eyes, but fear Yahuwah and depart from evil. You ain't departing from no doggone evil until you have reverence for Yahuwah. You're not. You're going to sit and contemplate evil. You're going to contemplate returning to perdition. You're going to contemplate sin, lust, and so forth and so on. You cannot walk away from it until you decide from the heart to fear him. Okay, Proverbs 3:7. When you lack that fear, when you lack that reverence, that honor of him truly from the heart, you contemplate the evils, you should immediately say, no, sir, no, ma'am, get that junk up out of here. I'm not down for that. I left that alone. They're my old ways. That's old life. That's me before the awakening. That's me before redemption. That's me before coming to the truth. But when you don't test, you don't reject, you don't have that fear, you can't abstain from evil. So you find yourself, even in your mind, you're like, man, I shouldn't be doing this, but you're doing it. I shouldn't be going here, but you went. I shouldn't be saying it, but it left your mouth because you don't fear him. So you can't abstain. Whether it be your mind, your mouth, your ways, you can't abstain from evil. You're literally getting whooped in the unseen realm, and it's showing up in your personal life. It's showing up in your very physical life. Mm-hmm. And what happens? You continue to go down that path. Eventually, you have accepted the foulness that you ought not be doing. You accepted the rebellion. You accepted the sin. You accepted your own thinking and not the way of Yahuwah. Mm-hmm. And it goes deeper. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Let's be real with it. You didn't have one too many. Now you talking to somebody. Now you doing this. You didn't went here. You didn't say that. You got connected with these people. You didn't constantly continue down this path because when you should have stopped. So you can fight the enemy, stand up in truth, abstain from evil, fear Yahuwah. The enemy just whooping you, boom, boom. You just doing number backing down, boom, taking shots, boom, taking shots, get knocked back. When he's trying to set you free. I mean, he wants you to be set free. And next thing you know, you like, yeah, dog. How the heck did I end up here? How did I end up in this situation? Yep. And people who don't, again, truly want to change, they go back to the basis of how it all happened and they get mad at the ticket. How did Negro gonna offer me this ticket? You know I don't do this. Now you blaming the ticket. You're blaming the person that gave you the ticket. You're blaming everything else, but you're not looking on the inside, realizing that you should have abstained from evil, but you couldn't abstain from evil. You couldn't stand your ground in the unseen because you had no fear of Yahuwah. Oh yeah, we trying to get free. Y'all trying to get free? You ain't tired yet of being depressed? You ain't tired of confusion? You ain't tired, can't seem to figure it out? Every time the storm happens, you just collapse. You ain't tired of that? Shit, I know I would. The adversary never tempts you with what does not entice you. Know that to be true. Mm-hmm. Know that to be true. Yes. He never tempts you with what doesn't draw or cause your flesh to flare up. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. You need to let that marinate in your inner being. Why you always having the same temptation? The enemy been studying you better than you study yourself. He know what you're getting ready to do. He know if he just switch it a little bit this way, if he just turn that image this way a little bit, if he just change it up just a little hair, if he can catch you at that right moment. Yeah, the devil, the enemy, the adversary, the lawless one, the son of perdition, the beast, the man of sin goes through the earth like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. A lion goes through roaring, but when it's time to get up on that prey, they pounce, they crouch down. Mm-hmm. And they get to the point where they want to make sure they catch you slipping. Where you're not visually you visually impaired. Talking about internally, right? The unseen, your vision is hindered because you're looking at something and you entertain it like, man, should I do that? Should I take that? Again, we can blame everybody and their mama. You can blame your childhood traumas. You can blame what your parent did. You can blame what your boss did, your ex-wife, your ex-husband, your bad knucklehead kid. You can blame whoever you want to blame. But at the end of the day, guess what? You got to start taking responsibility for the things that leave your mouth, the actions you take, and the thoughts you allow to continue to replay over and over again inside your head. The word says, he who keeps his mind stayed on Abba Yahuwah, he keeps them in perfect shalom. Perfect means exactly that. Unshakable. Not with flaws. Steadfast. Perfect shalom don't show up when your bills are paid. When you got a healthy savings account. When the right job opportunity came through. Perfect shalom. Shalom is designed for the storm. It's designed for the headache, the hard time, the betrayal, the setback, the forsaking, the lying, the backstabbing, the disappointment, the unforeseen trial and tribulation and circumstance. That's what shalom is for. So if you ain't got none every time you're going through something, you better understand you just accepted a defeat in the unseen realm. And now you have to live it in the physical. And that's not how you being called. Do not enter the path of the wicked. And do not walk in the way of evil. Avoid it. Do not travel on it. Turn from it and pass on. Proverbs 4:14-15. When the enemy comes to entice you, you better start beating feet. You better start moving your feet. Don't say you fear him, but then you over entertaining what the enticement is. Somebody lying. Either you or the word. Which one is it? Victory or defeat is seen in the realm. It is the victory in the realm seen is a product of what already happened in the unseen. Trust and believe that truth. So shown so much in the word. From the time he breathed life into man to this very day he's foretold about in the natural. What we will see, what we will experience, what we will witness in this time of great awakening on the cusp of great tribulation as we experience the great separation. Ask yourself why you keep being defeated. You know you shouldn't have did it. Why is it still taking you out? You know you shouldn't say it. Why is it still coming out your mouth? Or you want to be victorious in Yahuwah, or you want to still continue to be weak, and you can't be such in him. I'm not talking about weak as in the flesh being weak. Man can't simply zap themselves into the unseen realm. I'm talking about weak in this, as in the decisions you deliberately choose to make. There's a war raging all around us. Every corner, every crack, every crevice. The enemy has minions left and right. There are demons all over the place. But you have to choose the side you want to stand on. Remember the messenger, Eliyahu, had to go up against the wicked in the flesh. They didn't like the fact that Yahuwah was giving him foretellings of what the Gentile king was trying to do to the Hebrew king. His plans was getting spoiled because Yahuwah kept speaking to Elisha. And one of the messengers of the evil king said, listen, king, the stuff you speak in your bedroom, Elijah knew Yahuwah was dropping some deep truths on him to forewarn the king of the 12 tribes of the Hebrews. So the servant of Eliyahu stood with Elisha. The servant of Elisha stood with him, and they saw a massive amount of army that came to come get Elisha. And Elisha said to the servant who was terrified, he said, look here, there is more who are with us than there are more who are against us. And he set a petition to Abba Yahuwah that he may open up the eyes of his servants. And when his eyes was open, he saw hills of horses of fire, chariots of fire all around them. He was not worried about what was going on in the physical realm because he understood victory quite clearly in the unseen. And it all came down to him not just being a servant as a messenger of Yahuwah, but it came down to him having fear, reverence, honor, true respect, true esteem for him who is in control, him who is sovereign over all this evil that exists in this world. So do you really want to be free? Do you really want to win these wars, these battles you're fighting? That's the foundation of it all. Depart from evil and do good. Seek Shalum and pursue it. Pursue it. Don't go after the lie. Don't go after stuff that causes you to lose your serenity. Don't go after things that cannot align with what righteousness is according to the word. Do what is right. And when you do what is right, then you are after a sound mind. They go hand in hand. Remember, beloved, this is called the narrow path. That's why this don't go viral, because few find it. It's difficult. It's difficult. All this that we talked about mandates true inner searching, true introspection. You being the surgeon and going into your own heart and cutting away those things that entice you to do wrong, that causes you to lose in the unseen realm and suffer in the physical realm. Stop winning fake battles of pretending and start honoring him wholeheartedly so that you can truly be victorious in every fight of the enemy. He said, we are more than conquerors. So as soon as someone open up their mouth for something foul, as soon as they say something to try to entice you, as soon as someone try to present you with an opportunity to live contrary, as soon as your past try to run up in your mind and try to tell you haven't changed, you are more than a conqueror if you are in Abu Yahuwah through his righteous right arm, which has to mean you fear him. All esteem belongs to the most majestic one, not me. He alone is worthy. I am just a vessel. I am just a sign in the road. I am just a tool in his hand. That's it. No need to thank me. No need to honor me. Do what he told you according to his word. That's how you repay him back for him using me. He alone deserves all the esteem. I don't deserve squat. Period. What he gives me is because of what he had promised in his word. Other than that, it is what it is. And I love it that way because I want to see his face. I want to see him. I want to see all of his esteem and be able to stand in his face and hear him say, well done, my good and steadfast servant. If you support this ministry, this gathering, this group, this assembly, this will of Yahuwah through the lineage of the tribe of Levi, and you are doing such because Yahuwah had told you. We don't campaign for nothing. And I'm happy to say that. I don't have no conscience, no guilt, nothing resting over me because I'm out here trying to nickel and dime people for the better car. You give today and he gonna open up a window, all this other kind of stuff. So I don't gotta say that. The word is plain and it is true. And I'm living proof of that reality. So he alone, again, be esteemed for those who honor him. If you are looking to ask questions, you want to share testimony, you just want to get together and you live on another part of the planet in a different time zone. Maybe you don't want nobody to see your face. Don't even want to hear your voice, but you want to connect. You can do so. Join us for the after study at 12 p.m. on Shabbat, Eastern Standard Time, which is tomorrow. Okay, different time zone for other people. Moving Mindset Ministry.org. Okay, group studies, the last tab. Click on it. Read about what we do. We gather, we talk, we share, we ask questions. We even rebuke people. I had to rebuke somebody. They left. They came back. It is what it is. We're not changing truth to make you feel good. Sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. You will be esteemed. But yes, you get access. Hop on there and we rap, we talk, we enjoy each other. Fellowship per se. Utilizing these evil systems in order to continue in the truth, building each other up for the esteem of the most majestic one. Yahuwah be lifted high. Again, just be on the lookout for the release of my next book, When a Man is Fed Up, Rebuilding the Man You Were Created to Be. It's a powerful, powerful book. I ain't gonna lie. When I read it, I'll be laughing and tears be coming out of my eyes. A lot of my personal experiences, a lot of what I've endured, and those who I've have received the better God to walk with or connect with. Their stories are in here, but obviously not their real names. I don't trying to hunt nobody down. Let me find out who so and so is and Google them or search them on Facebook. Yes, we keep it, for the most part, anonymous, but it touches every area a man will endure in his life, to help you be that man Yahuwah has called you to be. All right. Always be less. Reduce yourself. Get on about that. Get on up off that doggone high horse. Get about your feelings. Get off that nonsense. Go ahead and bring yourself down. So when Yahuwah does it in his time, he can bring you up. He can lift you up. And when he lifts you up, it just feels so good. It feels so good. It is so good. And you ain't worried about what nobody talking about. You ain't worried about what nobody's saying. You ain't worried about nothing because you know he did it. And he always do it in the most unconventional way because he want the esteem. He do it in a way. He do it in such a way you be like, man, ain't no way. It had to be him. I don't know how in the world that happened, right? Yes, Yahuwah will be lifted high. Remember to always, always, always be less. Walk according to the truth.
We never get